The wait is over. The very first podcast from AVLP Solutions and Ascendant Mind and Body is out now. Mark Creighton and Kevin Pescatello dive into faith, fitness, and fueling your body for real transformation. They break down the power of Amare, how the gut-brain connection helps with weight loss and mental clarity, plus how Phix with hops can supercharge your results. It's real, it's raw, and it's ready for you. Listen now and start your journey to faith-driven fitness and total health. Find the episode now on Facebook at AVLP Solutions and LinkedIn at Ascendant Mind and Body. Hit play and transform your mindset today. AVLP Solutions, Ascendant Mind and Body, Faith, Fitness, Fuel for Success. And stay tuned, episode 2 is already in the works.
Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, Kevin, why are we here today?
Well, we're here to talk about faith and fitness and mental health issues.
Well, mental health issues are really dominating our culture, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm seeing it a lot.
I mean, I think you and I had discussed this earlier, but there's actually a plague of mental health issues. I've been a pastor, well, I'm retired pastor. I've been a life coach and a pastor for 40 years. I'm not a retired life coach. But I think that 80% of almost all the things that I deal with in life coaching, in counseling, in marriage counseling, has to do with the mental crisis that's going on in America. Anxiety, depression, just people's inability to get along. It's kind of an amazing thing what's happening. And I see people and they're just totally unhappy most of the time, and they have so much. They got these cars and they got this and they've got that. And then there are these pain points that we have in our life. And you and I all know about pain points, right?
Yep.
And what do we do when there's a pain point? We look for a shiny object to fulfill that pain point. Usually the shiny object, when we pick it up, it has doo-doo underneath it. So it really doesn't do what we want it to do, right?
Yeah, not everything that glitters is gold. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's doo-doo. But, the news is depressing.
Yeah, a lot of coverage, of course, going into the election and all of that stuff. And then prior to that, it was, all this fighting and war and all these, rumors of war and things like that happening overseas. And it's just constant barrage of, negative news. And of course, all the news outlets, they all report the same thing, almost at the same time, and almost even in the same verbiage of what's happening. And it's just like, it's too much. It's like with technology, because I am a geek, the technology is just so pervasive that you can bring anything you want to your fingertips and look at, or it's being put in front of you, but it's right there and you can just scroll and scroll constantly. And I think they know, like anything else, good news usually doesn't satisfy the desire or intent of someone looking for some type of a hit, whereas the bad news and negative, it's always a constant shock to the system. But while it may feel or seem good getting the latest and greatest news, I think our bodies weren't made to handle all of that.
Well, the problem is the anxiety, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I will tell you that there are people that want to control society, and we see them out there. And
Yeah.
They give millions and millions of dollars to both political parties, and they really want to control our life, what we think, what we say. The problem is that, and really this is something you have to really understand if you've studied history throughout the years, is divide and conquer. If you divide the people,
Right.
if you can get people to dislike each other because of how they think or how they feel about something, then you can control those people. And they've really done that in our society. The media has gotten us to think negatively, to be full of fear, to be full of anxiety, and that has created division. Kevin, you have a business, and I have a business. I have AVLP Solutions. It's life coaching, and then I have some side hustle things that I add to it that help in my life coaching. I have weight loss, which I am on a weight loss journey.
Good.
Some of you know, maybe you do, maybe you don't do, or maybe you don't, since this is our first maiden voyage on this thing, that I've got to lose about 75 pounds, which gets me back to my weight that I played sports in college. But I got to replace my left hip. And so we're on this journey. Both of us are. Kevin's on this creating muscle journey. He's turning into that guy behind him right there that's naked.
Yep.
But Kevin is he's on a journey to get his body to a place of health and muscularity that he's happy with, and God wants us to be happy with ourselves. We are His creation, and we shouldn't be unhappy. I'm not particularly happy. I'm older than I used to be, and I got wrinkles, and my hair is starting to get gray, and
well, at least you got hair.
I still have it, but I still have it.
Yeah.
But I'm 68, and I'd love to go back. And I used to be a helper and do the bite work with dogs, and of course I still can train dogs, but and I'll be able to go back and do that after the miracle of putting a more metal into my body. I've already replaced my right hip, but the society anyway has taken a toll on us. Social media, TikTok in particular, if you look at TikTok, it's pretty bad. And they got some real, listen, I don't mind weird, but I think there's like an over the edge weird, over the top weird, and they just spew out hate. Like I want to kill Nazis, or I hate this, or I hate that. It's
I haven't seen those videos yet, but
I haven't spent enough time on TikTok. But they're out there. But a lot of that stuff, that's the behaviors, and Kevin, you and I know, they come from the role of processed foods. I mean, we have processed foods, we have unhealthy foods, and then we don't think well.
Yep.
We've lost clarity in our minds. We don't have the direction that we probably should have, and it's just an interesting thing. So you and I, Kevin and I, have partnered up.
Yep.
To help people to find purpose, meaning, joy, clarity, physical health, mental health. That's what we do, and that's what we are going to be having these podcasts, and we are going to be talking through some of the mental health issues that people have over in our society. And we don't have all the answers, but we certainly have ears to hear, and shoulders to cry on, and willing to walk with people through the issues. And so Kevin and I have been walking together for some months now, and Kevin has made incredible strides, and so I'm very proud of him, and I'm proud of where he's going. So I just think that there's a lot of good that can be done as we continue this podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot to uncover with all of this. I mean, obviously, like Tony Robbins says, where your focus goes, energy flows. And being able to generate the right amount of energy, the right kind of clarity and focus and thinking, health is part of that. And it's the chicken or the egg here, where you think, well, what's more important? Is it physical health or is it mental health? Which one do you need to get fixed first? And it's like, well, it's kind of both, but I think you have to lead with the mental health aspect, because if you don't have clarity, if you can't think clearly, if there's no peace up here, you're not going to be able to stick to any goal. You're not going to be able to, set a date and say, hey, I'm going to do this week, and I'm going to stick to this type of diet, and I'm going to watch, out for this type of food, and, make sure I get my water and my rest, and do that consistently. Then you have life happen. You got work, you got, things at work you got to tend to, you got family, you've got or maybe you don't have family, maybe you're alone and you're dealing with being alone, and you've got things that you want to work out with that, like why do you feel alone, and you might be blaming yourself. So I mean, there's definitely all types of people and walks of life, but if you're eating food off the shelf and what they're putting in there, and I'm glad that RFK, he's in there now, and that's gonna start fixing some of the damage that's on the shelf, for one thing. But it's like, if you look at it, like the chemicals that are in these foods, your body doesn't know what to do with. For instance, as you know, I went from taking one protein powder that had sucralose in it, I ditched it. I spent $20 more, maybe even $25 more, for a 5-pound all natural grass fed whey protein source that has no sucralose in it, has stevia in it. And my body knows what to do with stevia because stevia is more natural than sucralose. I lost an inch off my waist, just like that. And then when I was introduced to Amare by you, I started doing the happy juice, and I got rid of inflammation and bloating. I was able to cinch up the notch one more time, and I'm like, this is good. I like it. And then I got put on to the GBX Fit, which I don't know if you can see right here. This bottle right here, I take one of these a day in the afternoon, and that has taken it down yet another round. I've gotten so sliced this last summer. You saw the pictures, and all I did was like work around the house. It's not like I went to the gym to go run. I just kept moving, walking everywhere all the time. But I watched what I ate. I went as close to raw as possible. And so with it, I was able to stick to my goals. All right, I was able to stick to my regimen. Yeah, you get urges like anybody else. You get an urge, oh, I want something sweet. But there's got to be some discipline and responsibility around that, when you should be eating. And we'll get into that in other future week podcasts of like what to eat and when to eat. But when I started taking that happy juice, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, just like you said, the clarity, the energy, the focus I had, I noticed a difference right away. I even stopped drinking coffee in the morning because it's like I didn't need to. And right. I noticed that first couple weeks of doing it, of course, going to the bathroom more regularly and all that stuff. It's what the happy juice does is it's a gut flora rebuilder, and it's going to get rid of the bad bugs and get the good bugs in you, which is also going to change your desires for sweets. One thing when you do some of these health measures is that you don't want to negate the fact that you're doing it. So you can never out train a bad diet. So whenever you do these supplements, you got to make sure that you're taking the supplements the right way, that you keep sugar away from yourself. And I saw tremendous gains. I've never been so sliced in my life. I actually had a taper going on, and it was awesome. I went out to LA. I saw Mike O'Hearn and showed him, and he was impressed. He goes, whatever you're doing, it's working. Plus, I doubled my testosterone levels. I did use the Amare Hormone Pack, all of it, to make sure that I got in the best shape of my life. So that was really good. But that helped me stay focused, and I was able to stick to the regimen.
Well, the Bible is pretty clear about our bodies, and it says that our bodies are the temple of God's Holy Spirit, and that we, as created beings, as creatures, we should take care of what God has given us. And I have to admit that I didn't do that. I just found this thing called Phix that I've been really, really helpful. It's made, and again, all natural, no GMOs, nothing. It's made from hops, hop extracts.
Right.
And it's not, the science is not new. I don't understand why we haven't been doing this, because the science is old being 10, 15 years old. It's thermogenic, and you take a drink of it. There's no taste, and you get about 9.5 hours of burn, of thermogenic fat burn, where it actually gets rid of adipose fat tissues. And I'm starting to see it myself. And
great,
you sleep better, you get mental clarity, but it's all taking care of our bodies. And so, I mean, I also am an Amare guy. I do the Happy Juice, and I'm big on gut health. If your gut's happy, you're going to be happy. And these are all things that are believe it or not, are connected to life coaching, connected to spirituality, connected to, and even if you're not someone that believes, let's say, the way I do about God or those things, having a fit body, we're holistic, body, soul, and spirit. So if your mind's not right, your body's not going to be right. If your body's not right, your mind's not going to be right.
Yep.
We're holistic. And when, like, I have like constant pain in my hip because I'm bone, my bones are bone on bone. The doctor was showing me, he goes, you'll see that? He goes, you got no, there's no room in there. All your cartilage is gone.
Ouch.
And look like one big thing like this. And so, you know, when you're in constant pain, I get tired. 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, man, I'm tired. But I will say the Amare helps.
Yep.
And the Phix, Phix, that helps. It's pretty incredible stuff. And of course, you know, we are distributors for that, but that's all part of our holistic approach. And Kevin and I are partnering together to have this holistic approach to life. And we have to renew ourselves, and anybody can get depressed. Elijah in the Bible was one of the greatest prophets. He got depressed and he wanted to die.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what did God do? You know, it's interesting, when Elijah wanted to die, okay, and he gets out and he gets out in the desert. He gets under the juniper tree and he goes, please just kill me. What did God do? He lets him sleep and he feeds him.
Yep.
He lets him sleep and he feeds him.
Yep.
He lets him sleep and he feeds him. And the food back then wasn't like the food we have today, full of chemicals. Isn't it funny that in Italy you can take down a lot of pasta and not get fat? Why? Because they're not using grains that are GMOs, that are chemically put in. I don't want salmon in my grain.
Yeah.
Okay, but they put salmon DNA into the grain so that it'll last longer, have a longer shelf life.
Yeah.
Well, that can't be good. God didn't intend for us to eat salmon in our grain DNA, you know? So it's kind of abhorrent if you really think about it, but you don't want to know what they put in tomatoes. But so they, for shelf life, because it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, that stuff is pretty horrific.
So God feeds him, he lets him sleep. He feeds him, lets him sleep. And then he talks to him. But he had to get his body squared away so he get his mind squared away.
Yeah. Chemical imbalances. The chemical imbalances are real. You were talking about, you know, how one chases the other. If you're, you know, you can't get your mind right, if your body's not right, and, you know, if your body's not right, you're not going to be able to think clearly or straight. And that's what this stuff does. It's what I call the happy juice is the level set. It's the thing that you need to get, because it level sets your gut, your stomach, and that gut-brain connection talks about not only for your immune system, but your ability to process the nutrition that you're eating. Hopefully, the good, close to raw nutrition. And that's what I've done with my diet. Like I said, I do the oatmeal in the morning with craisins, almonds, half a scoop of protein and some cinnamon, and I'm good. Part 2 will be eggs and protein after a workout or something like that, and I'm rocking and rolling.
You know, Kevin, Romans 12:1-2 says, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, present your bodies a living sacrifice unto God, which is your reasonable service and worship. And don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you might prove that which is good, acceptable, and perfect. And so, basically, we have to, the Bible knows we have got to change the way we think. When I was, my kids were little, my kids are all grown up, and they've done much better than that. They're killing it. All my children have just done so wonderful in life. But my son was on a basketball team, and they had lost their first 6 games, and then their coach quit. So they didn't have anybody to coach, so I got co-opted into coaching the team, which is fine. I played basketball. It could happen. I played basketball. I was thin once anyway. But one of the things that I found was they had a losing mentality. Oh, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
So the first thing I said was, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. And I said, this is fun. And when they started having fun, the next game was close. And I said, see, we can win. And all of a sudden they began to think that they could win. And then they began to win. And then we worked obviously on the fundamentals and a number of things that helped them win. But they had to start up here.
Yeah,
Okay.
renewing the mind
And we have
and
to start. And people go, well, I have to start with my mind first. No, you got to do both.
yeah.
You got to do your mind and you got to do your body. And if you don't do both, it's not going to work.
No, you'll be wasting your time. You'll be chasing your tail in circles. But that's right. Yeah, renewing your mind, and that's one of the things is you have to remember that what you think about, you become, and it's so true. And they even talk about now the new science behind everything, epigenetics, which I believe there's some science and some truth to it because it's working. They had studies where things were very similar, but someone was told that they could do something else, and it changed the gene. It just reconstructed itself. So
And God said, listen, Kevin, what did Jesus say? As a man thinks in his heart, so is he.
yeah, yeah.
Right?
I think
Been
you're
saying
right.
that since day one.
Yeah, and I know it's
Right?
a lot of the things that you can get out of life is in the Bible. I mean, it's really neat how you look at managing, dealing with people, raising a family, running a business. It's all in there, but it's just like that's what you have to do, and you have to realize that that's the language that they used back then to describe some of the problems that we're going to face today, and it's so timeless. The book that it's very relevant, and one of the things that happens to us is the stress hormones. Cortisol goes up when you see a lot of negative things or you're thinking about a lot of negative things. I think somebody posted recently in Instagram I was looking at, they call it, I think it was like ruminiscent or ruministic type of thinking, when you get up and you just think about all the bad and negative, and you're like, oh, should I get out of bed? Or oh, this isn't going to work today. And you're just, bah humbugging it. That's just stinking thinking you got to get rid of. And remember not to project fear into your own life or goals that are not unattainable, but what you can do is just like make those small steps, like, hey, I'm going to do this today, I'm feeling good. Change your posture, change your state. Tony Robbins talks about changing our state, that when people get into the Superman pose, they boost their testosterone levels by 20% after about 2 to 3 minutes standing like that. And you need to get into that power move, that hey, this is what I'm going to do today. Here's my goal. It's a good, healthy goal. It's very productive. It's going to help build for myself and for those around me. And so that's what you have to do. And the only way you're going to get that clarity is if you fix your diet and you fix your gut, because everything that they put in the store, those preservatives, the nitrates that are in deli meats and stuff like that, so the stuff can stick around, the breads that last on the shelf for like weeks on end, the cereals. It's hilarious. There was a clip that Mike was filming the other day, and it was like, the question from Jeff behind the camera was like, what cereal should I eat for protein? And he just like laughed. You should eat a steak because there's really nothing in cereal but sugars. You're eating candy. And we have to think about that. Now, kids, they're small, they're young, and it's something that they do, but really, you should be feeding your kids eggs, oatmeal, steak, maybe sausage. That'd probably be as far as I'd ever go.
There's good there's good sausage out there.
Okay.
Not everything has preserved. You can go to the butcher store or shop, your local butcher shop, and they make something. I'm sure mine make sausage, and they'll go and they'll make natural sausage. Now you got to eat it in a day or two, or it'll go bad.
Right.
Put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
But you don't. If you go and get Farmer John's, I'm sorry, you're going to end up with a whole lot of stuff you don't want to have in it.
Exactly.
So that's.
I
Kevin,
think
you're a fitness expert, and that's one of the things that I've admired is I've been able to glean from you a tremendous amount of information about health, and you're helping me to be healthy. And I'm a mental health expert in many ways, and I've been helping Kevin to be healthy mentally. And I think what we'd like to do, and we probably have to wrap this up pretty quick because we get around some time, but I think what we'd like to do is we're going to probably do this once a week, right, Kevin?
Yep. Once a week.
Yeah, we're going to try to do this once a week. This one's recorded, but we'll go live, and we'll have people and we'll have interaction, and I think we could have a good time. And we want to help you to get healthy and to get your mind where it needs to be. So
yep, absolutely. That's what we need to do. Yeah, we'll be bringing in some guest speakers. I'm hoping to get some for some business coaching. Our buddy
right.
Russ. Yep. Also try and get Stefan Shape. He's got an all natural men's group for building back testosterone and all of that. He's I think he's Austrian and he's out of Dubai. But we'll find some time to. We might have to film special for that segment. But yeah,
and we can film with Russ Devan. He's one of the world's greatest business trainers.
Yep.
And we'll be filming with Russ Devan. And there are all types of things. Kevin, I have a website, www.avlp.org, www.avlp.org. And that's my coaching website. I put blogs up there. There are blogs that go up there every month. So you can go read those. I give a free 15-minute coaching session to see where we want to go, and then we can go from there. Kevin is also available for coaching and for consultations on health.
Yep.
And so he's glad to work one-on-one with you. And we'll be doing probably some group coaching together. Kevin and I will gather some people, do some group coaching and facilitate people talking. And this is going to be a fun journey as we move through this.
Yeah, we'll use.
And you'll see me. Hey, here's the journey. You'll see me getting smaller as we go.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I'm excited about, is to see how my own personal journey, as I look and I see myself in the camera, and I go, ugh, no one likes that. I go, oh, who is that? I told my wife yesterday, I said, I'm twice the man you married, literally.
Yeah, you gotta get the six pack over here going on. But that's what I'm working on too for this summer. It's already started. I think today was the last of my heavy day. I think tomorrow is Wednesday, if it's not already Wednesday now. Oh geez, it's already Wednesday now. So this is where I start to shred. So the diet changes for me, folks. As we get closer to the summer body shred, I'll be doing more and more cardio at the end of the week and more greens, and we'll talk about all of that. We'll have breakout rooms. We'll show you how to eat, what to eat. There's a difference between eating healthy and eating clean. And as Michael Hearn, my mentor for fitness and training, will tell you that, he can work with someone who's got a bad diet and a good amount of calories versus someone who's just doing chicken and salad all the time because you really don't have anywhere to go. So this will be fun. You have to eat your way to health. And that was something I had to learn as a concept. Like, I'm eating more food and I'm losing weight. I don't get it. And your body, you won't at first, but we'll show you how all that works. And it's good. And it's gonna be good food and it'll be fun and you'll see the results.
And there's some other business experts that we'll be bringing on. So
yep.
Well, guys, thanks so much for being with us. Kevin is the tech guy. He makes this happen. I just have to show up and open my mouth. But Kevin, I want to thank you for making this happen, and you're the backbone to this, and I really appreciate it. So
yeah, we'll be editing. All right, thanks, guys. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.